at us. So Tyler, take it over, and great to have you here. Thanks so much for being our weekly expert at Midday Connect. Feel free to introduce yourself as well. You're on mute right now, but just introduce yourself and then we can jump into things.
Okay, I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. My name's Tyler Bender. I am the director of the social media department at The Grounded Company. We're a new marketing agency right here in Salt Lake. We specialize in B2C e-commerce brands, but we do a little bit of everything since we're a newer company, including B2C, B2B. We do lots of like tech startups. Um, yeah, so I have a little bit of background in all sorts of different companies on social media. So today I want to talk to you guys about how to develop content strategies, how to come up with new things to talk about, how to provide value to your audience, and how to do it in a way that feels natural and fun on organic social media. Um, I think something that all brands and people should be prioritizing is content before anything else on social media. Gone are the days of like, I'll just go on Instagram and post a picture that I made in Canva in 2 seconds and do some hashtags and I'll gain a following. That doesn't work anymore. So we have to think about how we can create amazing content. So let's get into it. Can you guys see okay? Just double checking. Great.
Yeah, we
Yep.
see the content is king slide. Now it's on the content buckets, so it's
This
perfect.
is amazing. Zoom is so much better than Google Meet because you can't see yourself on Google Meet. Okay, so to me, this is how I check, is this content adding value to anyone? To add value, I like to look at these buckets: entertain, educate, inspire. So everything in human reaction is based off of emotion. And so with social media, when it's organic, I need to drive somebody to feel some type of way so strongly that they interact with the content. So if I'm entertaining them, I want to do stuff. Maybe I'll do a trend that's so funny that somebody wants to comment and say, "Oh my gosh, this is so funny," and then tag their friend and be like, "Look how funny this is." You want them to laugh that hard. It's not just that you're making them laugh, it's making them laugh hard enough that they want to tag somebody and share it. If I'm educating, I want to throw out my very, very best content. I actually just had a talk about this in a breakout room. I think a lot of people try to gatekeep their secret sauce. I actually just saw a LinkedIn post that a girl was like, I would love to share my influencer marketing tips, but I don't want to give away my secret sauce. No, don't do that, because if you are trying to gatekeep your best information, then you're giving away stuff that everybody already knows and nobody's going to care. So, a good example of this is if I am working for a brand that works with cars and I want to make some sort of value add content for those people, I'm going to do road trip hacks. But I could fall into the trap of being something stupid like, oh, go get gas before your trip. Everybody knows that. I'm not going to go share that to somebody. You fall into the trap easily of giving really simple advice when you can get the most out of giving away your best stuff for free. Seriously. Trevor Crump, he's a way great digital marketer. He says information should be free, but implementation and personalization are what you charge for. So like today, I'm not holding back any information. I literally just want to give you the best product that I can, because also the people that you're giving away the stuff for free to, they're not going to buy from you. They're probably people interested in the same subject. So that's my little rant of the day on that. Give away your best information if you're making educational content. So, and then inspirational content, this is pretty simple. Just share your story, share your life, something that could benefit the world. But yeah, these are some different content buckets to stay within. Think, is this something that I would share to somebody and why? Would I share this to my mom because she's interested in working out? Would I share this to my sister because I think it's so funny? So consider that when you're making content. Okay, educate. I think a lot of us get so nervous about creating educational content because we're like, oh, I don't think I'm the smartest at this. I feel like it's something like nobody's going to trust me. What if I'm wrong? If you own a business on this topic, you are qualified to be an expert on it. Okay, so that's your pep talk. This is how you come up with the kind of educational content that will provide value to people consistently. I like to build this web because, as you can tell, probably by my clothes, my hair, my personality, the way I talk, I'm really messy. So I like to do it super messy like this. So I like to start with your title or your core offering. So for me, I'm a social media manager, social media. Then I like to think of all the different broad topics I can segment that out into. So for me, I just did it as platforms that people ask me about a lot: Pinterest, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And then let's break that down even more. We can go into, okay, well, I can talk about TikTok all day, but what are the types of things I'm talking about? Okay, content ideas. Maybe I talk about a tutorial on how to film. Maybe I'm talking about trending sounds. And those aren't even videos, those are subcategories. And then maybe from there, I talk about specific videos or specific posts I'm gonna make on each subject, because trends isn't a video. I can break that down into maybe one video is how to find trends. Number two is how to apply trends to your business. Maybe number three is how to film trends, or I'm doing a tutorial on how to film a specific one. So if you can see here, I have 4 subcategories, and then each one of them has 3 more, and then each one of those has maybe 10 more. So I can do this, and I can set up a year of content and never be wondering about it, what I need to post again. And get this, this is only educational content. This doesn't even tap into entertain or inspire. So if you're a little bit more put together than me and you like to think in spreadsheets and be organized, not me, I have a little freebie for you all, and I need to figure out how I can share this because I'm really not sure, to be honest. Taylor, do you know how I can share this link?
Other than
You can,
pasting it in the chat, that
See?
might be the easiest. Yeah, just select it now and throw it in the chat.
Okay. A little pause for technical difficulties. Okay, the only problem is I don't know how to open up the chat now. Oh, here it is. Perfect. This should open up as a copy for you guys. And let's just open that now. I'm gonna see if I can switch my tabs. So this will literally make a copy of it. Yes, I did it right. Okay. So I think this is a concept that Gary Vee kind of developed, but I've kind of, can you see my spreadsheet now?
Yes.
Okay, great. You can see it on my screen too. Oh,
Yep.
good. Okay. Perfect. So this is kind of a Gary Vee-esque concept, but basically he likes to call them macros, cosmos, macros, and micros. I think at some places he calls them nanos. But anyway, so if you like to think like this, I would put your cosmo at the top. For me, that's social media. And then I would break it down into macros. This is on this all nanos page right here. And so macro 1, let's just say that's TikTok. Then my micros are going to be those ideas like content creation. Maybe that's hashtags. Maybe that is best practice. Just like rules and regulations about it. And then maybe I can do trends again. So then I would put those ideas that I came up with here. These are all the specific videos that you're gonna make. So just for being so fast, I'm gonna say, okay, how to find trends, how to apply trends to your business. Okay, then what you can do is this is basically a calendar of all the months in the year. Some people, depending on your business, you can make a macro like TikTok your entire month and only talk about that for the whole month. However, I think that does get a little bit repetitive because for me, if I'm going to talk about TikTok for the entire month, people are going to be like, wait, I thought you did Instagram too. So, depending on your business, you can do it this way. If that's not your vibe, you can just say October and just start pasting in a mix of your ideas that you pulled over from the nanos. So maybe one day I'm talking about how to find TikTok trends, and another day I'm talking about um, how to post an image on Instagram, you know? So we try and mix that up. Does this make sense to everybody right now? Are we following? Cool. I think it could be fun if anybody wants to tell me your job title or what you like to create content about. And maybe we could do a little exercise about putting your interest into the calendar.
That
I'll
would be awesome.
Yeah,
Go
Tyler,
for it.
I can be the guinea pig. The reason why I joined this call in particular too is I've been working with my marketing person and trying to come up with better ideas. So my company, we're a language translation company, and so we're just trying to think of different blog articles, different posts, and things like that. We're doing a pretty good rhythm now, but it's just I'm starting to get caught up of going. We need more content there.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, what are the coolest features of your, are you an app?
No, so we are, we have professional human translators all over the globe that we work with, and so it's professional human translation.
Oh, wow. Okay. Language translation. I'm just going to put human so we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
Okay. Professional
Yep.
human.
we
And do we,
we do provide machine translation, but most of the time the quality is not what our clients are looking for. So
okay. So are they translating like documents online or are they like following me around if I go on vacation to France?
no, documents, mostly documents, websites, documents. One of the biggest areas that we work in is the e-learning world. So when you need like a video to be translated into another language or training courses and things like that to be translated in other languages. So we help out with that quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So what would you say your biggest pain points that you solve for are?
Biggest pain points is kind of to one, be able to communicate internally with internal employees that are part of different teams that, we work with Fortune 500 companies. And so ultimately, when they're trying to connect with other team members that are over in South America and they go, we need to get this over from English into their language so they can follow and use that.
Okay, so let's just do one workplace communication. How could you segment that out into what's another pain point within that? Like what's another problem you solve within that or what's a nuance to that?
Um, I think yeah, training is the biggest thing that comes to my mind because most people are bugging us about that internal training. Like, how do I get my teams to all be on the same page? And shockingly, they're like, well, they speak English, like sort of, and then they only just put out English content, and then they're going, well, I don't get it. Like, they're not doing as good, and it's a lot of times it happens to deal with. Well, because they literally speak another language, you're literally not speaking to them, and you're hoping that they understand somewhat of your broken English to be able to help out with that.
Yeah, internal training. So maybe they're helping with training videos, maybe they're helping with your training guides. So maybe training videos. That's something you can talk about here. Training guide. That's like a full post right there. Training guide. Maybe this is problems you see happen at workplace train. I don't know, maybe you're doing training bilingual team members do's and don'ts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's another one, you guys? You can all chime in here. What's something that you would put under internal training?
Question before I try and answer your question. Is this kind of going from the customer's perspective, what they would want to see in terms of being educated? Is that kind of the perspective that you're going for with this
Yeah,
list?
yeah. These are just ways that you can educate your customer. It's a really good way to keep you keep coming up with new ideas and not feeling like, oh, I already posted that.
I was
So like why translate them? I mean, going with the why Kyle's
Why
company
tra-
is doing this.
why
yeah.
translate? Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's a full-on macro. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, we've kind of broken that out of like, what's ROI look like? Because again, obviously it costs money to translate those things. What does ROI look like for sales or when you're doing like for marketing materials or when you're doing internal teams?
I think you make a whole segment about money. It's like, how do training videos affect the ROI? Maybe another one is, how can your company get to the next level in Q4? You just start using terms like that. You start relating it to money. You start relating it to saving time. So, can you kind of see how doing this can keep you really organized, really on track, and keep you always coming up with new ideas?
I've got a question. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, a couple of years ago, I was meeting with the vice president of training at Deloitte, and he was telling me that the numbers for training their employees, their consultants, was only 8 to 12% of people involved in um, video training retain all the information they're being taught. The next 40% only retain 30% of what they're being taught, and the last 50% only retain, well, they retain nothing because they could care less. And so I think that that might be, how is it then? Is there a subset for all of that? Micro number one, which is looks like it's training and videos, and mainly that's the main focus. Is there a subset then of resolution for that or implementation to be able to try new areas? That's what I'm looking at for what you have there. Is there another way to add different ideas to each one of those?
Yeah. Yeah, if you want it to go farther and get even more nitty gritty than this, you absolutely can. Um, but also, I think you explore that over the course of your post. Like, if I say, um, internal training guide, if I make a video that's how to train your team internally using our language translators and why that's a benefit, I'm not just going to make that the post. I'm going to work through the problem and solution in a long form context just because I'm not going to write all that out in my micro. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll make it a full on caption so then you can just copy and paste when you're ready to go. But these are just kind of guiding posts, and you can elaborate as you like. You can fill it out as it makes sense to you, and hopefully use it as a tool, however it works for you.
Tyler, how do you split these up into the three buckets that you talked about first? Like, is it good to do that here in terms of inspiring, educating, or those buckets? Like, and how much of those buckets, what's the ratio of those buckets that you would suggest focusing your content on?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, so I think those buckets are so broad. There's only three of them that I really don't like to consider that here. This is mostly going to be educational content in this just because that's kind of how it makes sense. Um, I would say for a mix with TikTok, you have to be so niche. TikTok, honestly, it's so annoying, but TikTok hates if you veer from being the same thing every single time. I learned this the hardest way. I spent a year on TikTok posting whatever I wanted, being like, oh, people will follow because I'm Tyler and they're always getting Tyler and it's consistently me. And I was one day showing a daily vlog, and I was another day showing what I was wearing, and another day I was showing a comedy thing, but that doesn't work. You have to commit to doing the same thing every time on TikTok. On LinkedIn, however, I think you have a little bit more nuance because it is very personable. People really get you. I think you can share a little bit about your life, a little bit of stuff that you find funny or entertaining, a little bit of information. And then for Instagram, again, I think for Reels, you want to be very cut and dry, the same thing every time. But I think Instagram has those functions like Instagram stories, and Instagram photo posts that are nurture content where you get to be a little bit more of, you get a little bit more freedom to explore what you want with your dedicated audience. But for outreach content, I like to say be pretty predictable every time. I hope that helps. I only want to touch on this calendar briefly because it is so abstract. I want you to be able to use it in a way that makes the most sense to you. That's why it's literally like a blank spreadsheet with spaces to put your stuff. But I really want to move on with you guys and show you some more fun things. Okay. So this is just an organizational tool again. Let's move on. Okay, this is kind of talking about guiding posts for entertainment content. We kind of talked about the 3 pillars. We talked about how to organize your primarily educational content, but I want to give you some more tools to think about how you can come up with entertaining content or you-centric content. This is the kind of stuff that pops off on LinkedIn just because in LinkedIn you're in a sea of just, I got this ROI, I used this tool, I did this thing. So sometimes just being honest, being raw, being personal works really well on LinkedIn. So if you're getting writer's block on LinkedIn, I like to ask myself who, what, when, where, why, how. And again, super abstract, but these are really good thought starters. Like, who are you? We all play so many roles in life. I like to think of all the titles I hold. I'm an employee. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. We're all so many different things and wear so many different hats. I think sometimes that alone is a post in and of itself. I write tons of content about how I love being an older sister. And I think everybody has that. Maybe you talk about your marriage, you talk about your kids. Like, there's so many options there that just saying who am I to everybody in my life, that's a full post for you. What? This is another one where you just like, honestly, I could get on LinkedIn and post, I think In-N-Out burgers suck. And that will get crazy engagement because people will argue with me. Just post your opinions, post what you like, let people get to know you. This works on almost every social platform. Think of dates that inspire you. If I'm a brand, if I'm creating content for a brand, every holiday for me, I'm like, yes, I know what I'm posting about. Like, I'm like, perfect. Halloween sale, Christmas sale, Christmas post, 12 days of Christmas countdown. That's so much content for me. If I'm working for a brand, holidays are like, we all go like this because it's an excuse to do a fun sale and it's an excuse to do good content. But for me personally, I mean, I'm not running a TikTok sale on my personal TikTok account, right? But what I am doing is like riffing off the holidays. Maybe I'm doing a 1 year of being at the grounded company. Maybe you can do talking about your marriage anniversary. I don't know, but it's a good thought starter. Where again, same thing, just think of locations that matter to you and you can do a full post about that. I'm moving you guys so I can see my screen. Why is another good one. This is kind of falling into the educational section where you just think like, what are people asking me about? Like, why do I do what I do? Why do I put such an emphasis on TikTok? Why did I go to X university? Why did I choose to do this with my time? Why did I say this? Like, so many questions you can use. And then how? Again, this falls a little bit more into educational. You can make it a little bit more personal if you'd like, but you can say, what do your coworkers ask you? How did you do that so fast? How do you manage your time? How do you spend your time at home? How do you raise your kids? Like, I just want you to be able to understand how many options you have with creating content. Not only do you have all this educational work stuff that you can pop in, whether you're working for a brand or yourself, but you also have all this entertaining personal content that you can pop in as well. It's just, the options never end, and I want you to walk away with all these new fun ideas for creating content. So let's move into other ways to generate content ideas. These are my favorite resources in the whole entire world. First off, Answer the Public. I'm telling you guys, this is the best tool I've ever used. Okay, was your name Kyle, who asked me about the language company?
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle. Answer the Public, right now I'm telling you, I'm sure you guys, a lot of you already know about this, but if you just type in language translation, it comes up with hundreds of prompts of what is literally trending in Google that people are already searching. Like, it searches the web to see what the most popular searches are and gives you ideas. And then you take those headlines and you just spin content right off of it. So if you're writing blogs, that's going to improve your SEO like just crazy, because you can be the solution to a problem that people are searching for. So answer the public. I will die on this hill. Amazing. I think you can only use it once a day, which is kind of annoying, but it's so valuable. Neil Patel owns it and he's brilliant. So all of you go use answer the public. Okay.
It used to be so much cooler before it got before they locked it down. Just looking at that old guy picking his teeth, it's just great stuff.
Right? I know it used to be way better, but it's still good. Okay. Now I want to Pinterest. If you're feeling dry, you can literally look up Pinterest thought starters, Pinterest caption ideas, Pinterest blog ideas. And because like we're all creating content in the same way, it kind of works for everything. Use your creativity to customize it to yourself, but Pinterest is a great resource. Quora is freaking awesome, you guys. People are already asking these questions. Just go on Quora and I would search up social media Q&A, social media problems, TikTok problems, and just be a solution, be a problem solver with all of your content. Do an ask me anything. I will go, if I'm feeling like desperate for ideas, I'll go on LinkedIn and I'll just say, hey, ask me anything. And for an hour, I'll answer all those questions. And then I'll like screenshot them and save them to my phone and be like, okay, this is what people who follow me are wondering. You can also do this on Instagram in your story. There's literally a box sticker that you put on and people can just ask you anything and you can just respond with other Instagram stories. It's an amazing function. Everybody loves it. It works so well. And then you get right into the brains of the people that are actually seeing your content. Okay. Reddit is also amazing. I love Reddit. I will often search my niche and then just Reddit at the end and see what comes up on Google. And those to me are genius content prompts. Like maybe if you're in dropshipping, I'll be dropshipping Q&A Reddit. Language translation Q&A Reddit. And then BuzzSumo is a tool. It's just so expensive, but if you have the budget, it's a good way to be on top of what things are trending based on the keywords that you utilize in your business or that you would describe your business as. So I would go on BuzzSumo, not to hammer this example, but I would go on BuzzSumo and I would search language translation, and it'll give me all the top articles, all the top pop culture trends, everything on social media, and it will just scrub the web for that, and I can kind of pick and choose ideas off of that. And then finally, BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed is like a pop culture conglomerate. If you want to stay on top of like what is trending in society today, go on BuzzFeed. They're talking about it. They're talking about who's breaking up. It's like a tabloid. It's like a modern tabloid. They're talking about who's breaking up with who. They're talking about trends. They're talking about the newest movies, recipes, social media, everything. So if you need ideas, I would go into BuzzFeed and just search a keyword like cars. If you're a car company, go look for what BuzzFeed is saying about cars and try to do your own spin on that sort of subject. So please, I'll try to share this full PowerPoint with you guys so then you can refer back to this, because I want you to know these resources. These are phenomenal. Okay, and then this is just a quick reiterating things that are on Pinterest, because I think a lot of you might be like, Pinterest, isn't that for crafts? No, it's not. These are things that you can search on Pinterest: quotes, prompts, captions, and blog inspo, and you will just get an overwhelming amount of resources for you to use. Okay, I know I talked so fast. My throat kind of hurts for talking so fast and so loud, but I just wanted to leave you guys time to ask what you were really wanting to know to get the most value out of this. So let's roll into some questions real quick.
Just unmute yourself and feel free to ask questions. This was awesome, Tyler. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I've got a question about Quora. I joined Quora about 7 or 8 years ago, and I stayed up on it for about a year, and then I don't see how it's to be used. Do you have any numbers? And I have not seen Quora talked about for a long time on so many different networking groups. Are there numbers that support then focusing and spending so much time on Quora? I mean, you said it was so great. I had no idea about answerthepublic.com, and I'm very grateful for that. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying go on Quora and become a creator. I'm not saying waste your time responding to questions on Quora. I think maybe 7 years ago, you could have gone on Quora and built a lot of goodwill and a lot of audience members. I think Quora is just like old school, get on the pulse of what people are talking about. So I'm just going to go skim through Quora and be like, I'm working for a dentist and I don't know what to talk about. What are people asking about dental hygiene? So it's just a good way to hear your public and listen and get on the pulse of what people want to know. So you're not just throwing random ideas at the wall. It just gives you a little bit of an idea of what people are interested in. And definitely don't waste your time posting on it, though. Maybe it'll come back. I don't know.
Hey, Ellen, I have a quick comment on Quora too. So I agree. Like, I was more active on Quora when it was more active. But the cool thing about Quora is that format, the question and answer format, I think helps you dial in search intent. Like, okay, somebody's asking a specific question and they're phrasing it a certain way. And if you have content that answers that question, and it takes 2 seconds to recycle a post or promote a post on Quora, and there's still some SEO strength in Quora, and just like to Tyler's point, right? It's a place to find out how people are asking questions and what are they saying and what kind of answers are they getting, so that you can compare your answers or your content to what is easy for people to find out there.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's
Thanks.
a really good way to put it.
I had a question about frequency. Like, what is there? I know it's about repetition, frequency, consistency, but this can be more than a full-time job for any businesses. So how do you manage this with your clients, or what's your take on this aspect?
Yeah, so this is a hard one because it really does come down to, like, ideally, I would like my clients posting every day on TikTok. But do we have that bandwidth? Oh my gosh, no. So it kind of depends on your company's bandwidth, but just lean toward more is more, honestly. You've got to find your right balance where you can make quality content. Like, it's not just like, really, like, if it's embarrassing if you release something super bad, so it's better to not post anything than to post something that would really damage the brand. But at the same time, the level of quality on TikTok is not high. You're posting a 15-second video, it's 15 seconds, like, right there. It doesn't have to be that good. So I know everything I say about social media is like contradictory to each other, but that's how weird and gray area social media is. But I would say TikTok, I try to post 2 times a day, and I see the most growth when I'm posting twice a day. LinkedIn, I think 5 times a week is good. Try to hit it in the morning before East Coast is at work. So like 8 a.m. Eastern time is really, really good for LinkedIn. And then it's pretty ghost town on the weekends, so I don't really bother on the weekends with LinkedIn. Instagram, everybody has a different best posting time on Instagram. So I would just look at your analytics. If you have a business or creator account, it will literally just tell you when to post, and just post then. Yeah. So it's hard because I just want to tell you post as much as possible without burning yourself out and while maintaining a certain level of quality. But that looks different for everyone.
Priscilla, it looks like you were going to say something. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, though.
No, just said thank you. Don't know if you can.
Of course. Thank you for the good question.
I was going to ask, I've heard, like, posting frequency and stuff like that, LinkedIn and, all the other social media, I say social media, but, social media channels and things like that. I've heard that you have to have consistency. Right now, we just set up because, again, I'd love to spend more time, but we usually do a post on LinkedIn and Facebook just on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then we do a blog article post once a week as well too. Can you talk to me a little bit more of like frequency and like how that plays in? Or do you feel like, no, really you have to do at least something every day? Or what do you feel like is like a good blend there?
Yeah, well, here's my take on it. I don't think the algorithm is monitoring you and being like, oh, they didn't post on Thursday. I'm going to make the rest of their posts be punished for it. I don't think that's how social works anymore. I don't think it cares that much. But what I do think is every time you post, it's like you're entering the lottery, right? Except it's free to enter. So why not increase your probability of winning the lottery? Maybe this is a bad analogy because I shouldn't be like saying enter the lottery, but every time you post, you're entering. So why not enter 20 times a day, every day, and make it more likely that you win, you know? Like, it's so random which content is gonna go viral, but the more you put out there, the more likely you are. If you're posting one TikTok a month, you're probably never gonna surpass. You're probably never gonna do anything crazy unless those are the most insane videos and they just have like a crazy shareability and you're lucky enough that they get pushed to the right people at the right time. There's so much that has to line up, you know? So if a little bit of your performance is based on luck, you better be posting as much as you possibly can to really hone into that luck. Yeah, cool. What other
Hey
questions?
Tyler,
Hi.
yeah, one more question for me. So
Yeah.
now that we talk about the frequency and let's say we've been posting like 20 times a day, but how do I make sure that it gets to the right audience? Because for me, I am actually a social media manager from the Philippines for Coconut VA, and I have to
Uh-huh.
make sure that the posts on TikTok are not going to waste, not going to avoid if
Yeah.
they're only showing up to the Filipino FYP. Because at the moment, my FYP is all local, and I've tried like tinkering the settings of my TikTok, but it just doesn't let me penetrate the US TikTok. So that's my problem at the moment with TikTok. I'd like to go viral, it won't let me.
That is so annoying, actually. So I think a couple things you can try. TikTok now has location tags, so you can tag where you're at when you posted the video. Like, I tagged a video on TikTok that I was in like Provo this morning, and the video has like 40,000 views, and it's been a couple hours. So, um,
Whoa.
I location tagging is going to be huge. TikTok is trying to be a search engine, so think of anything that you would do for SEO happening on TikTok. So location tagging is going to be great. I would spend some time liking everything that's a US account and just boom, 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 boom. Like really curating your For You page. If it gets to the point, I might experiment with putting a VPN on your phone and trying to make it look like you're in the US based on VPN. I've never messed with that. That's kind of a random idea, but I think it's worth a try. If there's somebody who knows that better than me and I'm talking out of my, like tell me, but you could try that. That's definitely a unique issue. But yeah, more advice that's also applicable to everybody. Hashtags are a huge way, especially when I'm going to talk about TikTok specifically here, but hashtags and keywords in your caption are how your content is going to be found by other people. Okay? So every time I post a TikTok, I think, who will think this is funny and who do I want to see that? Then, even if it's not what the video is about, if I know like I'm making a video about soda and people who live in Draper and are moms will think it's funny, I'm not going to make all the hashtags about soda. I'm going to make a lot of the hashtags about Draper mom, Utah County lifestyle, Utah County living. So I think about who my target market is and what they're interested in. And then the keywords, I try to make the caption very descriptive of what the video is. And then use those hashtags as a tool to kind of tell the algorithm where to put my video.
Cool, thanks for that.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully that helps.
Hey, Tyler, I have a quick question on engagement with social media. So we've talked a lot about posting. I'm curious your thoughts on the importance of engagement as a brand or as a company.
Yeah, that's a great question. Good to see you. Aren't you a Draper mom? That's funny. Yeah, so engagement on Instagram is like one of the very few. Instagram's so hard these days. So hard to grow a channel unless you're doing Instagram Reels so aggressively. I think engagement on Instagram is pretty important right now. It's a huge piece. So if you have the bandwidth, I would hire a community engagement manager, honestly, to just go and like aggressively comment on everybody else's posts like in your niche. I would just have them like, love this so much. I don't know if you've noticed this, but if on Instagram you like use a Utah hashtag or geotag Utah, you get attacked with pages that are like, love this, send it on Utah community page. And then they just build up their pages by doing that. Um, yeah, that's huge. And responding to DMs and making people feel like you were excited that they shared about your brand is so important, because then they'll want to share about your brand again, which is the most important thing, especially if you're B2C. Getting your people to share about your company is so huge. So anything you can do to make your customers feel like they're a part of something, like you appreciate them, and just push them to share more and more, amazing. So on Instagram, it's so huge. Um, LinkedIn, obviously, the more you comment, the more you get seen. So I think on LinkedIn, it just improves your visibility. TikTok, if you're not an iconic brand, I don't think it matters that much, just because like when you engage on a TikTok, it's so funny when you see like what when you see Duolingo comment the most crazy thing, you're like, you laugh, you know. But if a small Utah startup does it, you're like, what the heck is this? And you don't really care. So that's kind of my 2 cents on engagement as a brand. As a person, engage, keep up with your people, make a community, get people excited about you.
Thank you.
Of course. So yeah, I think that's all we have time for, but thank you so much for your good questions. I hope I'm going to try and share around that presentation, so you don't throw shit at my soda. That was funny. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to share around that presentation, but feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and send me any questions you have. I'm so more than happy to answer. Thanks so much, you guys.
Tyler, thanks so much for your time today. This was awesome. If you want to send me the presentation, I can distribute it to the group, or you can post it on your LinkedIn or whatever. Happy to help on that front. But this was fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed having you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.